Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I'm back again, y'all. I'm back with some more information on domestic violence. So I just hope everyone out there has been well and just staying out the way of everything that's been going on out here. I hope everyone's just doing fine. So let's get into it. And today I'm going to talk about why don't women leave abusive relationships? So that's one of the questions that we always hear again and again. Why doesn't she just leave? So we need to stop, blaming the survivors for staying and start supporting them, which will enable them to leave. We need to stop blaming the survivors of domestic violence. We need to be more supportive of them. It's easy to say, why don't they just leave? If you've never experienced domestic violence, you would have no idea of the reasons. So I'm just going to talk about some of the reasons today, because there are many reasons why the victim doesn't leave. So we need to stop blaming the survivors, okay? So by understanding the many barriers that stand in the way of a woman leaving an abusive relationship, be it psychological, emotional, financial, or physical threats, we can begin to support and empower women to make the best decisions for them, while holding abusers solely accountable for their behavior. You know, we need to stop blaming the women and asking, well, why don't you just leave? Like, it's so easy to leave. We need to be more empowering and more supportive to the victims. So hopefully they will get the help that they need. Okay. So here's just a few of the reasons that prevent women from leaving. One is isolation. So domestic abuse often relies on isolating the victim. The perpetrator works to weaken her connections with family and friends, making it extremely difficult to seek support. Perpetrators will often try to reduce a woman's contact with the outside world. That prevents her from recognizing that his behavior is abusive and wrong. So as long as the abuser can keep you away from family and friends and people that care about you, the more control he can have over you. Isolating leads women to become extremely dependent on their controlling partner. The more they isolate you, sometimes they keep you locked up when they go to work. They lock you in the house so you can't get out. They may take your phones from you. Any way you have any contact with the outside world, they'll take it away from you because they don't want you to get help. They don't want you to be around family and friends so they can see what's going on and try to help you. Another reason they don't leave is out of danger and fear. And this is one of the most important reasons why women don't leave, is because it's incredibly dangerous. The fear that women feel is very real. There is a huge rise in the likelihood of violence after the separation. 41%, 37 of 91 of women are killed by a male partner or a former partner when she tries or if she succeeds in leaving. So see, it doesn't always stop just because you left. So this is how serious it is. When you leave, then they stalk you. When you leave, they threaten to kill you, and sometimes they succeed. Another reason they don't leave is because of shame and embarrassment or denial. They're ashamed of what's going on. They're embarrassed when other people see the marks and bruises, or see the way their partner talks to them and orders them around, push and shove. Sometimes they even strike you in front of other people. Sometimes the victim doesn't leave because of denial. They're in denial that they're even in an abusive situation. So see, a lot of times when another woman is saying to a woman, "Why don't you just leave?" Sometimes they're in an abusive situation and they don't even realize it, especially if it's not physical. It may be mental, but they're telling this person, "Why don't you just leave?" when they may even be in an abusive situation themselves, just haven't gotten physical yet. So abusers are often well respected or liked in their communities. They are charming and manipulative. Therefore, people would never recognize the abuse or believe this person is an abuser. And this helps to isolate the victim even more, because no one believes this person is a violent person, or that he abuses his wife or abuses his partner. He's a pillar of the community. Everyone likes him. He gets awards for this and awards for that. He takes out the elderly people in the neighborhood, takes their trash out sometimes, shovel the snow, open doors. Oh no, he would never do that. He's such a fine doctor. He's such a nice police officer. A good preacher. He follows the word. All these people you hold in high esteem, but they're in there abusing their wife and even their children. You never know it. Another reason, the perpetrator often minimizes, denies, or blames the abuse on the victim. So sometimes, when that happens enough, when you're blamed enough for the abuse, you sometimes begin to believe that it's your fault. He'll tell you that you're crazy, that he's not doing these things to you. And then you begin to question yourself and say, well, is he right? Maybe it is me. Maybe I need to do this or that better. Maybe I am starting it, And after all, he works hard. He had a hard day at work. Or he just lost his job, so I need to do better. You come up with all the excuses because you begin to believe the things that he's telling you, that it's your fault. And that you push his buttons, that's why he hit you. Or even he hit you because he loves you. So victims may be ashamed or make excuses to themselves and others to cover up the abuse. Another reason is that they stay is because of trauma and low confidence. Fear is constant, and they live in a world of everyday terror. Imagine being told every day that you're worthless and the impact that has on your self-esteem. No, victims have very limited freedom to make decisions in an abusive relationship. They're often traumatized, regularly told you couldn't manage on your own. You need me. Yeah, sure, a lot of times you're being told that you can't make it without that person. You know, without them, you would be nothing. Yeah, they tell you you're too old, you're too fat. Sometimes they even say you're too skinny. No other man will ever want you. You have too many kids. You're ugly. You don't fix yourself up like you used to. You can't cook. There's so many things, and then you find out that other men are saying the same thing to their partners. So sometimes you wonder, did these men get together and all decide what they're going to say to these women? I tell y'all, it's just too much. It's too much. So another reason they stay is because of practical reasons. So abusers often control every aspect of their victim's life making. It's impossible to have a job or financial independence by controlling access to money, so the women are left unable to support themselves or their children if they don't have any money. And a lot of times the abuser will have control over your money. You may work and he may not work, but in some cases you have to bring the money home to him. They may fear having their children taken away, or if she has an insecure immigration status, she may fear being deported. So a lot of times they will threaten, if you leave, I'll take the kids and you never see them again. Or they may threaten you because you have an insecure immigration status, so you have fear of being deported if you try to leave him, because then he's going to report you. And another reason is that sometimes the support just isn't there when they need it. And asking for help is not always easy. I remember when I was in my abusive situation many years ago, I didn't know anything about the domestic abuse organization. I didn't know anything about that until I went to court with someone that was in an abusive situation. This was before, of course, if I didn't know about it, it was before I started working for the organization. But anyway, I had went to court with a person that was getting a protection order. And in the meantime, I happened to see the supervisor, and I was talking to her, and that's how I found out about the domestic abuse organization, and that's how I became a volunteer, and later on I was hired on. But I got out of my abusive situation after many years on my own. I remember it was a time when I used to call the police, but come to find out, the police officer was my ex-husband's brother, and for some reason they would always send him. I guess when they heard the last name and they figured out who it was, they just would send him. All he would do is, have him take a walk, and then he could come back and so on and so forth. nobody told you about domestic abuse. At that time, I don't think they were that well versed because it's supposed to, when the police come out on a domestic violence or call, they're supposed to make you aware of domestic violence agency and give you a card with the hotline number. But I believe around that time they were really just advancing. Because I'm thinking that now in some police stations, they have a domestic violence advocate on hand to talk to people when they come in so they can kind of detect if they're in an abusive situation. So, I just got out of mine on my own. I got tired of going through those changes, and I knew this wasn't me, and I didn't want a life like this for me and my children. So I just got out of it on my own. I always said if I wanted to fight all the time, I became a boxer, and then I would at least have gotten paid for it. But I thank the Lord each and every day, that I got out that situation, and I am a survivor. So, misunderstanding about domestic abuse often prevents professionals from knowing what to do, so how to talk about it or where to direct women disclosing abuse. So, that's what I was just saying. A lot of times, a woman, or again, even a man, may go into an accident warning and may be having these marks and bruises and knots on their head or whatever. And they're going for treatment, but they won't really say what happened. And if there's not someone on hand that recognizes certain things and certain symptoms pertaining to domestic abuse, they don't know what questions to ask. So it's not always documented correctly when some of these cases come in and they're domestic violence related. Because a lot of times they don't, tell. So, if you don't know what's going on, you don't know where to direct the victims. So you have to speak up. You got to speak up, and like I said, a lot of times they are afraid because of the threats that were made to them if it was reported. So I have 2 more videos here for you to see. And one is pertaining to the man, again, being abused. It's called Abused by My Girlfriend: The Teenage Romance That Descended into Terrible Violence. The other one is where the woman is being abused. It's called Summer of Secrets. And this is a few short films on domestic violence. Both of these videos can be found on YouTube. One pertaining to the man is Abused by My Girlfriend: The Teenage Romance That Descended into Terrible Violence. And once again, the other one is, for the women, Summer of Secrets, a few short films on domestic violence. So until I come back next week, it's another video on domestic violence. It'll be called Challenging the Myths. Domestic violence, domestic abuse is a crisis that affects all of us, and it has devastating impacts on a woman. A woman is killed by her male partner or former partner every 4 days in the UK, England, and Wales. So y'all, this must change. And this was reported by, I can never say this word either, Wikipia. Wikipia. I think it's the, is it the encyclopedia Wikipedia? I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But anyway, what is it? Wikipedia, Wikipedia. Y'all know how I am with these words, y'all. But, so, until I get back with y'all, and I just want to tell you, once again, the National Domestic Abuse Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE, SAFE. So if you or anyone out there that you know is involved in an abusive situation, you can call that hotline number, and they'll give you the number to the closest domestic violence organization in your area, and they can provide you with help. They can provide you with the legal information you need to know. They can provide you with shelter, support groups, counseling. So just give them a call. It's better to be safe than sorry. So with that being said, y'all, I just want to say, I want you to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll be notified of another video. I hope all is well. You're getting out there, you're storing up again. We don't know what's coming our way, so we better put some stuff aside, open up that garage, make some room, start stacking up again, y'all. So with that being said, I just want to say, I love you. Thanks for watching. Until we meet again.